So this is part 4 of reminiscing about Bethany Bible College and, the good times there. I recall, different things. Probably start out with the more serious first, and then, getting into, the somewhat funny stuff. But I recall the class that I had called Teaching for Spiritual Impact. I don't remember. I think it was teaching children as a baby to when they are about 2 or 3. And they said the younger that they are, the less attention span that they have, but the older that they get, they start paying attention more. And so it's one of the things that we learned in the book, and I think in that class I got a good grade. But I recall, I think, on the last day, we had to critique each other. Well, it was on last couple of weeks, we had to critique those that were supposed to be teaching. And so I recall when it was my time, I was teaching about the difference between needs and wants, and how if we go to the store, for example, we got to get milk or hair gel. Which one would be a need and which one would be a want? And so a lot of the fellow students critiqued me, things I could do better. They praised me on certain things and stuff like that. So I remember that class. And then I recall I was part of the prison ministry team, and we used to go to different prisons and talk with some of the prisoners and encourage them. I remember one youth correctional facility that we went to. I heard that they had whatever Bibles that they could get. They would rip the pages out and, smoke fatties, if you know what I mean. And so we would talk with some of the youth there, and I remember Chris Stevens was playing on the guitar In the Light by DC Talk, and we were all singing that to the students and stuff, and it was pretty cool. I enjoyed that. I recall, as I was, lifting weights and such, I had the notion of going out and trying to jog, something that I haven't done before. But I started, gaining in, I guess you could say, air. I was able to go longer. I could only, jog for a little bit, but then I started getting tired. But the more I did it, I was able to go farther. So I think the farthest I went was probably about a half a mile. And so that's I remember I had this, it's one of the pictures I have from Bethany, but it was this long coat. It looked like there was sheepskin on the inside of it, and it was heavy, and so I used to wear that to jog because it was so cold out. But I used to walk every other day, to, I guess, help with cardio and heart rate and all that. I remember doing that at nights. Let's see, what else do we have? I remember Scott Hart. There would be some nights, and we've all seen him do it. He would sit on the floor in the hallway next to his phone, and he would be talking, for a while to somebody on the phone. I remember him being expressive and stuff like that. And I also remember him in the hallway stairs playing the guitar. I guess he was doing that because he didn't want to disturb the other student. So he was singing songs in the hallway. He also had in his room a picture of Robert Powell, who played Jesus of Nazareth. So he had the Jesus of Nazareth, I guess, movie photo of Jesus on his wall, and he eventually gave that to me. Let's see. I remember also Scott, Joel Gildart, Ray Barnwell, Dale Berry. They were singing in the chapel sometimes. They were singing their band. I forgot what the name of their band was. But I think Joel may have been absent that night. And so Scott got on the mic and started singing. And he wowed a lot of people because they didn't know he could sing. So I remember him doing that one night. And so he was singing some of their songs. So I think he was in that band for a little bit. Let's see. All right, so I guess I passed all the really not so funny stuff. I remember all of us, we went into the store that was close to the college. I think we walked there because it was really close. And we got into the store, and here, me being an American, I was surprised at their gallon of milk. Here in America, we have like a gallon jug of vitamin D or 2% or skim milk. We have gallons like that. So when I saw Canada's gallon of milk, it was a bag with 2 half-gallon cartons in it. So that was their gallon of milk, and I was like really surprised. So I think we got like food, and I think it was that night we were probably going into John and Ben's room, and we were talking. So we went into the store, and I think it was like a mall-type store setting. And I really don't remember all of it, but I do remember, I think we went into the music store maybe, if they had one. Because I remember seeing a poster of Britney Spears' first album. And if you all remember that, she was on her knees, kneeling down, posing. So I don't really remember. I think some of us were commenting on how cute she was and all that. But I don't really remember seeing anything else there. It's kind of sad that you can remember certain parts, but you can't remember all of them. But, you know. So I remember, like, one night, and this is like, I guess you could say Xrated or whatever it is, but I remember one night, like, all of us, I think we were in John's room, and I think I, like, was boasting about my package, and, of course, I thought I had a good hand, and then John's like, all right, whip it out. I was like, nope, so he called my bluff. But, you know, that's X-rated. That was hilarious. And I think one of the most funniest things, I had already mentioned in, like, a previous video about how John used to, you know, tell stories about his dad and how he looked like Eric Clapton and stuff like that. And, man, I give a, like, my right hand to hear those stories again from you, John. But I remember John was like talking about his dad and how his dad wanted him like to clean the tub, and so he cleaned the tub, and there was a hair in it, and John was like talking like his dad. It's like, John, come here. What is this in the tub? It's a kiki-doo. You're supposed to clean it, or something like that. And he was like, does this look clean? Survey says no. Man, John, you gotta really tell that story again, man, because that was just freaking hilarious. But I think I got everything. Oh, and then we had already spoke about it, and we chatted about it in the chat. But I remember hockey players, a student at Bethany called Lane McRae, and he had this blondish type hair and stuff like that. And if I remember, I think he had like a scar on his face. But we all went to the hockey game, and Lay was down into, I guess you would call, I can't say bullpen, because that's baseball. But that's where a bunch of them were sitting. And so Scott had, I think, a stink bomb that was in a capsule. And he threw it down where Lane was. And Lane had his mouthpiece in. So Scott threw it, and he was laughing, and it broke. And giving it a little time, we were waiting, I think, for the reaction from some of them. And we hear Lane's like, oh, who farted? So, like, John reminded me that we all tried to get, like, Lane to say that over and over again. But, man, it was so funny. We were freaking laughing so hard seeing that, man. Man, such good times. I really miss it. But this is part 4, so hopefully I can get some more memories for this. So thank you for taking the time to watch.